Sex, drugs, and opera back at you. You would think after 3 years of doing this, we would have a system for like who talks first.
We don't.
Or discuss it.
It's always a moment of terror right beforehand.
And we
I'm
don't.
like, oh my God, is he gonna wait? Oh, he did it good.
And we don't even look at each other. We just kind of.
It somehow just happens.
You ever do those exercises where you're in choir, where you all close your eyes and then you all sing at the same time?
No.
Oh my God. Maybe I went to a hippie school, but we would do that shit.
Did. You come from Seattle, dude.
It's true.
Fucking
Out in the
hippie
mountains.
dippy.
We do that shit where 100 of us close our eyes and like everyone's like, and then they all sing together. And
it's a fucking perfect Seattle, the tradition is you all go out to the woods, fucking do mushrooms and sing choir songs.
And there's always someone fucked it up. Someone went first, and then
someone has to go first.
Yeah, I know. And then everyone's like, "Fuck that guy," like, really fucking hateful.
Not feeling the moment, man.
I mean,
all we people talk. You talk in no kind of distinct way in Seattle. I feel like do an impression of somebody speaking from Seattle. It sounds like
I am
the
every
most
day.
normal person in the entire world.
Literally, actually, if you talk about regional accents, I think Seattle, that the Northwest has what's called broadcaster English. There's no accent. It doesn't mean that we speak English really well, but there's no.
You have this soulless,
it's
fucking cultureless way of doing shit.
And some people try to say that we say words differently, but I mean, I have words that I say fucked up, as is a theme on this podcast. But that's
somebody
not,
IPA'd it to us the other day. Yeah. Says everybody in the world thanks Jared. Thanks. And she IPA'd it. I really appreciated that one.
I'm nervous. I've been recording a lot of voiceovers lately, and I've been listening to myself, and there's more. There's more.
Yeah?
I have more fucked up things I say.
That's honest of you, though.
Yeah.
That's honest of you to be able to confront your demons.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. Okay, so we might as well say it. This is your podcast for July 25th.
How the
fuck are you doing, huh? Today we're talking about Beethoven, right? Beethoven. And it's his year. I didn't look it up. Did you look it up?
What, that it's his year?
Why is it his year?
I don't know. He died or was born or
we
something.
We did a whole
shit
goddamn
like
podcast about Beethoven.
Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing. It's funny. Everybody does Beethoven all the time, but now everybody's doing it more all the time. Yeah, which I didn't think was really possible.
It's his 250th year. Yeah. I mean, it's
like of birth or death.
I don't know.
See?
I don't care. Who the fuck cares? Like, since he existed, I mean, I could do the math. I mean, he was born in 1770, so I don't know. I'm not doing the math. But like
that must be his birth year then.
I mean, he died in 1827, so actually
so it's not his death year.
I don't know.
It's
50 years, 30 plus 20. Yeah, so it's his birth year, I guess.
Yeah, it's his birthday. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Beethoven. So that's why you would have seen a lot of Beethoven this year had Corona not happened. But we're still going to talk about Beethoven because why the fuck not? Beethoven's a cool guy. Should we just dive in here? You want to do that first? We kind of quit doing beer on the podcast,
which is a shame.
And I think the beer gives it a little bit of extra spice,
Well, speaking of spice, this one has chili peppers in it today.
Read
that shit. Yeah, read that shit.
Tokoloshe?
Tokolosh.
Tokolosh
or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know.
Porter brewed with cocoa, molasses, and habanero peppers. I am on board until the peppers, dude.
Dude, the
cocoa
peppers,
and molasses?
The peppers make it, dude.
I mean, it's true. You're
gonna shit fire.
Oh God, it's true. They they have chocolate, and they always have chocolate with pepper in it, and it's dark chocolate with like some little bit of spice.
I like this one
man.
because I like this one for today because Beethoven.
Yeah.
Beethoven was a spicy guy, also.
Okay.
And he was apparently he was a very good guy. But spicy as fuck.
Well,
so much.
Let's get into it. Let's take a
sip.
sip.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
Have some spice.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Okay, let's see. Oh, man, I don't know, dude. It's got some serious zip at the end.
I feel like this beer might have gone bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Can beer go bad that quickly?
Fuck yeah, it can go bad.
All I'm
if
getting
it's not
is
bottled
spice
right or anything like that. But
geez.
the spice is there.
It like hits good and then it just fucks. I already feel drunk from one sip, man.
Nice.
All right, let's get into it. So Beethoven. I didn't used to do this, but I've kind of started doing this. I enjoy it just to give some context of what was going on at that time. So Beethoven was baptized 1770. He was probably born the day before because, as was custom back then, you got baptized within 24 hours.
Which, by the way, it should be noted that he was born during the use of the old calendar, the one before. They adjusted all the dates, so his birthday, even though it was December 16th, is most likely somewhere around Christmas.
Huh. Okay. That's weird. Also, like, as I researched him, it's like he kind of like says his age in letters, which is not what his age was, but we'll get into it. So he was born around in December 1770, basically, and died 1827. So just to give some context, Mozart died in 1791. So Mozart was alive for his first 21 years of his life. Yeah. You also had like Rossini was born 20 years after him. Schubert was also quite a bit younger, about 30 years younger than Beethoven. And then Bach had not died that much earlier, 30 years earlier. So I always thought in music history these people were really far apart, but they were all kind of alive at the same time and knew each other, hung out and shit most of the time, which we'll also get into. In America, you of course had the American Revolution and Ben Franklin, which that was never taught to me in school. It's like when we learned about Beethoven, it would have given me some context. They were like, in America, Ben Franklin and the American Revolution was going on. And then it's like, I could kind of always relate those better in my mind instead of it being like a random date.
Absolutely.
With American history.
No, totally. I mean, these things are, for some reason, I always thought Beethoven and Mozart were way before American history started.
Yeah.
But
me too. I always, like, anytime I think about any of those old guys, I think it was like, way before. But Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson and stuff were all at the same time as those guys.
Totally.
But they seem way older. I don't know why. But Beethoven, he's kind of like Verdi in that he has more or less, like, people divide his life into 3 periods.
He's kind of like every composer. So first off, it seems like the most natural thing in the world to break things down to beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So every composer, they're all like, this is his fucking middle period. Yeah, everybody, I guess you can do it that way. But
I totally agree with you, which we agree too much on this podcast.
Are you in your middle period or are you in the end phases?
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to die and find out. But because they always have some big work and they're like, now this is when Beethoven became who Beethoven was. It's like, but even if you look at these composers, like, things we celebrate, sometimes they're like, that was shit. So it's like, how are you going to say that's his defining work when he fucking hated it,
No.
Anyway, so Beethoven was born in Bonn, which I've been there before. It's all right.
It's okay. It's okay. I stayed in a fucking sweet-ass hostel there.
Really?
Yeah.
So hostel? I'm done with hostels, man.
No, dude. This one's fucking awesome.
All right.
So okay. It's in a huge warehouse, and when you go into the warehouse, it's called... what the fuck is this place called again? I actually did a video, like a vlog, on my personal YouTube channel, which I don't know why the fuck I did it.
How long ago was this?
This was back... the Pittsburgh Symphony came, and I went to visit my teacher there.
In Germany?
Yeah, they came. They tour Europe every year or every other year.
Okay.
And they were playing in Bonn, and so you walk up to this fucking warehouse, and sticking out of the warehouse is a railroad car.
Yeah.
A fucking railroad car, right?
Okay.
And you go inside, and they have these fucking campers.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that. You actually stayed there.
That's right. I stayed there.
Okay.
And they have these fucking campers set up, and each camper has like a different fucking theme.
Okay.
And you can rent the camper, but I decided to stay in one of the sleeping cars. In the sleeping car in one of the cabins.
In the train.
In the train. It was fucking awesome,
I've seen that
dude.
before. It's like these what's another name for camper? I guess everyone knows what that is, right? Wohnwagen. It's a
Wohnwagen, I guess, yeah.
Like a mobile home type thing. I don't know. Like
but a trailer.
A trailer.
Like a trailer.
Camping trailer. Yeah, and it's inside. I've seen it before.
It was
I know exactly what it looks like.
Really cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Anyway, that's
Bonn does some cool shit. I don't know. So if you're in Germany, swing by Bonn, see what's going on.
I'm sorry, I have to find out what it is.
You're trying to plug them up.
Base Camp.
Base Camp.
It's called Base Camp. I hope they're still around.
I think they are.
That was a long time ago, at least 6 years ago or so.
Michael Pecca vlogging from Bonn.
I was vlogging from Bonn.
So Beethoven was born in Bonn, and his grandfather was, I guess, Austrian, came over to Bonn and was like a prominent musician. And they actually painted a picture of the guy, and it hung in Beethoven's room. Yeah. And it was like,
also named
live up to the expectation. Yeah, same name, except I guess the van Beethoven got changed to von Beethoven at some point. Or is it Ludwig van Beethoven or von Beethoven?
Von, I think.
Yeah, is it? I don't know.
God, we suck at this, dude.
Well, those are details. I'm not going to look up like if it's an A or O in the middle of his name. It's not so relevant. So he had this lineage, and his dad was, of course, also a musician. And in the beginning, Beethoven's fun with A, fun Beethoven. So that's not really
but the
Austrian.
thing is, at that time during so Bonn is kind of over in the West, right?
Yeah.
And over there is a big fuck up of culture.
Yeah.
Like the Netherlands.
Oh, you're over there near Belgium, yeah.
Yeah, and Belgium, they're all like right fucking there. And
France,
it went back and forth between France for the longest time in the middle of the in the mid, like the mid part
I
of
forgot that beer was spicy.
The 1500s and 1600s, there were wars all the time with the French, and it went back and forth. I mean,
even all the way into Verdi. When we talk about Verdi and stuff, it's like these composers had like war going all the time, and that's also kind of why they spoke a bunch of languages easily, because it's like
totally.
It's like, oh, we're French now. No, we're German. Like,
and the fun sounds more like Dutch or Belgian or like Flemish than it does German. But he was fucking German as shit.
Yeah, he was. But he of course his first music teacher was his father, and I guess those lessons were intense as shit. You know, I guess his father was shitty as fuck.
His father was about as big of a dickhole as I guess you can get.
Yeah, which we'll get into that more later, I guess. But like, and Beethoven studied throughout his whole life. He studied with lots of people.
Yeah,
he didn't have like a teacher. Like throughout his whole life, he studied violin, viola, organ, piano, and he had a couple influential teachers. But it's like he studied with a lot of people. And when he was young, there was like one of his teachers that like had insomnia, and he would come over and like wake him up and make him play piano.
Fucking play!
In the middle of the night. Get up! Like, could you imagine? That's so
My
fucked up.
voice teacher did that to me all the time.
Yeah, could you imagine like getting shaken awake and like you have to go sing lip trills? Like, fuck that. God damn. Of course the dude was a dick when he was older, you know? Like if you're getting woken up for that shit. But his dad also was, of course, familiar with like Mozart's success, you know? And so he tried to do the same thing with his son. So he lied about his age, made him younger, and pushed him as like a prodigy. Yeah, of course.
He was a fucking prodigy, but his father was trying. I'm surprised he didn't go like on a bunch of tours with him and stuff like that, like Mozart's father did. Mozart's father went all over the fucking place with Mozart.
Yeah.
And like paraded him in front of fucking Europe's royalty. I'm surprised that didn't happen more with Beethoven. So kudos to the guy for doing that, because Beethoven might have fucking died. I mean, when you traveled back then,
yeah,
traveling was a different proposition altogether. You didn't like get in a car, travel for 4 hours, and take a shit somewhere in the middle.
No.
You didn't do that. You took a shit because you got dysentery and almost fucking died on the way.
Yeah. People died all the time of that shit, and it took fucking forever, you know? I don't know. We should do a podcast about child prodigy someday, because I wonder if Mozart was kind of like one of the first, you know, like child prodigy. So maybe it was more of a special thing, and maybe got played out by a certain point. I don't know.
Maybe. It seems like, so child prodigies were different. We might call a lot of the fucking normal fucks back then child prodigies, right?
Yeah.
Like Bach wasn't necessarily a child prodigy, but he was working at a young age too, you know?
But people were dying at a young age. So.
And people were dying at a young age, so you had to fucking get to it.
You had to get to it,
or you would miss your chance.
I mean, people getting married at like 14 and shit. You know,
how old was Beethoven when he had his became the court organist? 12, I think.
In Bonn, yes.
Yeah, he was 12 and then started getting paid. He got screwed out of an entire year. I guess he didn't get screwed, though. It was like an apprenticeship thing. He did it.
Yeah, that was with his teacher, Christian Gottlob Neefe, right? And that was an influential teacher because he, of course, like helped him get his first job. And he was an apprentice, I guess, for a year where he didn't get paid. And then he was like an official organist. So made some cash and stuff like that.
But this Quifa guy was giving him all kinds of...
Quifa was giving him the
Queen
old...
Laquifa was giving him some real... Like this was the first person who's like, yep, you got to start writing some of this shit down.
But that dude was born in Chemnitz, so what do you expect?
Because he was born in Chemnitz.
Quifa was, yeah. Queef's fucking Chemnitz,
man,
dude.
You're bringing it way back.
Callbacks, man.
Fucking the early listeners.
Listeners will remember Chemnitz.
They'll remember Chemnitz. We had some times with that shithole.
I can't remember.
Chemnitz.
Yeah. I can't remember why we talked about it. I was there.
Because you had those auditions.
Yeah, and there was that tunnel. If you ever go to Chemnitz, walk the tunnel under the train station if you feel like fearing for your life. But so he was working with Queen Laquifa at the church, and he his first patron, which all these guys all these guys we talk about back then, if you didn't have the patron who then handed you off to another patron, you were fucked. Which is why I want to take a moment to thank our patrons and our sponsors. Because it's true, man.
That was like the best segue you ever did.
You like that?
And I doubt that you're going to use it. You plan to keep going, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. You think I could just push the sponsor music right now?
Yeah, just press it right now.
Nah, I want to keep the ball rolling.
Nah, dog.
But the Archduke Maximilian Francis, of Austria, was then the sponsor who helped him work his way towards Vienna, which is then an important part of Beethoven's
also had
life.
what the fuck was that guy's name?
Waldstein.
Waldstein was a guy in Bonn who financed his first trips. So before we get to Vienna, we should mention that he had his first composition, published composition, and his first important published composition, the Piano Sonata, which was really ambitious, by the way.
Yeah.
He was young and he was writing these sonatas. Sonatas were the benchmark. Were the absolute fucking benchmark of what it would mean to be a composer and how you would be judged as a composer. And he did it relatively young. Why? Because he fucking could. He could fucking do it. And this Waldstein guy, he was like, you know what? You got to get to Vienna because Vienna was the New York. In America, it's all like if you... Everybody, most of our listeners are in New York, but if you're not... When you're studying in America, you'll start to hear everybody start talking about like, oh yeah, I gotta get to New York. New York is where it is. New York's where it's happening.
Which
blah 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 blah.
I think in America is true.
I guess
it's true.
But Beethoven could have written, I guess, without Vienna, but he wouldn't have had... Okay, so I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot with this argument because when he went to Vienna for the first time...
Yeah.
So he went there first and then moved, I guess. I can't remember whether he had one or two trips to Vienna before he moved there.
He had a couple trips.
Before he moved there permanently?
Yeah, well, let's get there because I want to bring up this New York thing. So let's bring it up when we get to Vienna because you made some good points. So Mike's talking about Waldstein, so Mr. Woodrock here. He commissioned him to do his first work for the stage, which was a ballet,
which I've never heard before.
Nah, neither. The ballet, Musik zu einem Ritterballett. So I don't know what the fuck that is. But he also had a family he was hanging out with, so he kind of got out of his the Breuning family. And so that was kind of like the mom was a widow, so she kind of acted like a mom to him. So he kind of got away from this fucked up home life he was in and kind of distanced himself from that. And the Waldstein thing happened. This is 1791 now. So I guess at this point he's like early 20s, which is when things start really shaking up for Beethoven at this point. And he had a lot of family problems going on. His mom died and stuff like that. So there's not that much music from him. But his first visit to Vienna, he was there for 2 weeks, and that was in about 1787. And he probably most definitely met Mozart during that time because Mozart was also in Vienna.
And somebody had written to Mozart on Beethoven's behalf, not because Beethoven asked them to, but because Beethoven was already becoming a well-known
people already
young
know who
musician.
he was.
They already started to know who he was. It should also be noted that at this time, alcohol, the fucking demon drink, fucked up his father's life so much that he lost his position as a tenor in the court choir or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, and I think they started paying like Beethoven, like Ludwig van Beethoven, like half of his money or something
Beethoven
like that, right?
actually wrote to them and demanded it.
Oh, really?
Beethoven,
okay, I didn't know that.
If you say anything about the guy, had balls.
Yeah.
He had balls. There was no like, ooh, should I do this or should I? No.
Yeah.
If he wanted half that money, he got half the fucking money.
Respect to that guy, because, that's probably why a lot of things happened for him. Like, he had talent, but talent doesn't do shit if you just sit at home and wait to get discovered.
And it's probably also why a lot of people thought he was a big douchebag.
He was a big douchebag.
He was a bit of a douchebag. The other thing we should mention about the Breuning family was one of the first times that... the first out of many times that Beethoven and his ugly coffee cake looking face would fall in love with somebody and they would reject him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One of the daughters of the Breuning family who he also taught.
Dude struck out his whole life.
Look, we're not gonna talk much about it right now because there are more.
Yeah, it comes later, so we'll wait on that.
This guy, man, he needed to go fucking find Don Giovanni and get some. Well, not Don Giovanni. Don Giovanni was a rapist.
Yeah, no.
But who could you say that he needed some love lessons from?
What, an opera person? Who's a suave opera person? Escamillo, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Escamillo, right?
Escamillo.
Needed to find fucking Escamillo and find out how to woo those ladies. Because Beethoven was not...
He didn't have that figured out.
His main thing was, I'll write you something fantastic.
Yeah.
And that wasn't enough, dude.
No, you can't counterpoint your way into someone's pants.
You think I'm here and now I'm here.
Yeah. No parallel fits in this bitch.
Nope.
So, in 1790, then that's when Haydn then came through Bonn on his way to London or something like that.
Or on the way back from London, I think.
No, on the way to London, they probably met, but then they definitely met on the way back.
You got me there. You got me there, Iceman.
So then they set it up.
Took a loche, baby. Took a loche.
This is 1792, and then Beethoven was like, "Yeah, you got to go study with," and his the Archduke, his patron, everything. They're like, "Go to Vienna, study with Haydn."
There was some evidence that Beethoven really wanted to study with Mozart, but Mozart up and died.
Probably
died.
So I mean, now we can talk about it because now 1792, he's in Vienna. He's 22 years old, and he's studying with Haydn, and things are cooking for him. And one of the defining periods of this early period we're now in is that he was like, everyone was like, "You're going to be the next Mozart," and so he was trying to sound like that.
And yeah, but you know what? He's quoted in saying, though, I appreciate the reference to Mozart, but. And he said this to Haydn, you as well as anybody know that an artist has to find his own way.
Yeah.
Which I listened, when I heard he tried to sound like Mozart.
Yeah.
I listened to some of that music in preparation for this.
Oh, yeah?
He did, but there's no way that guy could hide the artistic impulses that he had flowing out of his body.
No.
As much as he might have tried to, he was fucking Beethoven.
Yeah, and that authenticity, is like what makes something sound good. And if you're trying to sound like someone else, it's never going to be authentic. But also, it's like you can't, as a composer, it's almost impossible to hide, your voice. It's just like if you're voice acting or something, you can't have a completely different voice. Your voice is your voice.
Voice is your voice.
And there's subtle things you'll do that you can't fucking hide. Rhythmic things, melodic things. But
he's not hiding anything.
Oh, man. So basically, as soon as he gets to Vienna, his dad fucking dies, right?
And look, it's always the worst fucking sign ever. If your dad or mom dies and you don't go back, even back then, if you don't go back for the funeral or anything like that, that is the biggest fucking cold shoulder you could do. Nowadays, it's a real cold shoulder because what? It's a fucking plane ticket. But then... it was also expected that he would go back, but he didn't. Why? Because his father was an overbearing alcoholic dick.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he didn't. So, I mean, he was just like, his mom had died, his dad had died. He didn't have the best relationship with his two younger brothers, So it's like, he had no reason to leave Vienna, And so he was just fucking there. And so he committed to it. He studied with Haydn, but also he studied with Salieri, and he was studying with everybody.
Yeah.
He took influence and instruction from wherever he could. He didn't have just one instructor, which I somehow respect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm going to take violin lessons, viola lessons. I'm going to take piano lessons, organ lessons. And even though he's a big shot, he's not done studying.
But there was this argument about one of his piano quintets that he had with Haydn, right? Where he then refused to write on the score or in its publication "Student of Haydn," which was a really because Haydn thought Haydn was a fucking great composer.
Yeah.
We could easily do podcasts about Haydn because Haydn is somebody who in the opera world is somehow. I mean, his operas aren't great, and a lot of people attribute it to the librettist that he had, but his music is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And Beethoven knew that, but more than that, Haydn recognized what the fuck was going on with Beethoven, right?
Okay.
And Beethoven was as ahead of his time as any composer that's ever existed.
Yeah.
And what Haydn was saying is, hey, dude, look, you might want to pull it back. Some of this thing is like... hardcore porn on national television when they're just used to kissing.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
And
his music, you mean?
Some of his music was fiery as fuck. It was a little longer than people wanted, so Haydn was trying to pull it back. And Beethoven, of course, also knew what he was. He knew how brilliant he was. He's like, fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
you're not telling me what to do. And he eventually suppressed that he was Haydn's student a little bit.
Damn.
Which was a bit of a whatever. I mean, they didn't end their lives on like really bad terms or anything like that.
Right. No, it's crazy, man. I mean, Beethoven did start, like we talked about in the Verdi podcast, like he did at one point start employing some strategy. You know, these composers were strategic, and Beethoven would compose things and he would save it.
Yeah.
He would have the composition for a while, and he'd wait for the right moment, boom, and bust it out or publish it. Like he was strategic with this stuff, especially in the beginning, which, you know, respect, man, because he knew how good it was and he waited for that shit. Also, I mean, like, as far as his mom and dad dying in Bonn, he didn't go back also because France fucking took it over, you know? And so, like, his old patron cut him off, and the city basically fell to the French, and so he really didn't have a stipend. He didn't have money coming from Bonn anymore, nor a reason to return. So he was completely committed to Vienna. And also, several Viennese, like, noble people had already recognized him and started offering him financial support. So, boom, he's established in Vienna. And at the same time, he started developing a reputation as a performer in the salons of the nobility. So he was a very good performer and particularly improviser. So he's like in these underground fucking
the fight club, the musical fight club that he went through.
They're
fucking awesome.
The duels, right? You're talking about
the
piano duels. Yeah, he had these piano duels where like
first rule piano duels.
1799.
Don't talk about piano duels.
What? Yeah.
Don't fucking.
He's like 29 years old, and there was like this Baron Welzer or something like that, who was a former patron of Mozart, who would have these piano duels, and Beethoven would come every year and just like fucking crush people, you know, these fucking things.
Like everybody who was anybody in this whole. I guess it was a thing back then, like. It was basically like cockfighting, but with human composers.
Dude, have you ever been to a piano duel bar?
No, but I've been to cockfights.
Oh, man, it's fucking fun as shit, dude. Still to this day.
What, a piano bar?
Yeah, I don't know if it's still around in Seattle, but they had one called...
I've never been to a piano duel, though.
Yeah, it was a dueling piano bar.
Really?
In Seattle. It was. And it had a good name. It was like something dueling keys. I can't remember what it's called, but...
oh, that's great.
Yeah, they'd have two tip jars,
name.
and they have these two guys just fucking duel. You know, and it's still to this day exciting as fuck. You know, most of it's fucking fake. I'm sure they play the same shit every single night, and it's like fucking medieval times. You know,
see, back then though, I don't mean to get all golden years on you like this, but back then those people were fucking.
You mean back then in Beethoven's time?
Beethoven's, Mozart's,
that's different.
And Bach's
time.
No,
that was the real deal.
Motherfuckers were improving and doing shit.
Yeah, and that's cool, man. And people forget that aspect. We talk about all the time of classical music, the improvisation stuff, the freshness, you know, the like doing it now. Like, that's fucking cool. And back then, when life's boring as shit, that would have been exciting as fuck to have Beethoven there going bananas on your piano.
Getting some counterpoint thrown down.
Seriously.
Thrown down. We should mention that in the first period is something when the a lot of his piano sonatas, his early piano concertos, and the first symphony came out of this early period, quote unquote. Again, we put these fucking periods on people.
I don't like it. Yeah, musicologists do it. I don't know.
Musicologists do it, but we're doing it now too.
But yeah, you're right. So at this point, the first and second symphony came out, and also his Pathétique, like piano piece came out, and then he was established as like fucking pathetic, dude. And it came out then that he's like he's the next guy after Mozart and Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, right?
Dude,
he was in demand at that point.
Something that I got to say is these people, these concert patrons, they must have had the most fucking what's Hornhaut again?
I mean, that's like a callous. Yeah.
The most callous-ridden ass cheeks of all time, because these people sat through the longest fucking concerts ever. The one where the first symphony premiered had music from Haydn, Mozart, as well as his septet, the first symphony, one of his piano concertos. All of that.
Yeah.
Fucking all of that. And that was by no means rare for his shit. He once later, we'll get to it later, but the fucking benefit concert that he gave with like 3 different fucking symphonies played in it. How the fuck are people sitting through this stuff? Like, I'd like to know more about the environment in a theater when they did
I was
going to
say, I don't know if they were just sitting and watching. How could you do that? That even back then, that would be boring.
Getting bleaches.
That's what I mean.
First
like,
symphony.
Sex still exists. Like, I know there was no TV, but like at some point, you got to be like, I could go jack off instead of this. You know, like you could jack it off. Always existed.
People were animals back then. You don't even have to go anywhere.
They had a room for it.
It's kind of expected. That you're going to jack off at least once during one of these.
Could you please
concerts.
put a handkerchief over yourself at least? You know.
That's what you would see. You just see these bouncing white handkerchiefs, frilly white handkerchiefs.
Could you imagine
over somebody's crotch?
Standing on stage, there's just a sea of like head bobbing ghosts out there. Bunch of Caspers.
Seriously, that's thank God he was deaf. That's not a sound. You don't want to see it, but that's not a sound you want either.
1,000 people.
1,000
secretly
people
masturbating.
jacking off.
Oh God. But like.
Man, this went off the rails real fucking quick.
It always does. But you know what? Like, at this point in his life, he also met a lot of women, but I'm not going to talk about it because, I mean, you can if you want, but I don't give a shit. He wrote Moonlight Sonata for one woman. He wrote... okay. Yeah, go for it.
I kind of want to talk about... No, he wrote Moonlight Sonata for... one second.
For
Guicciardi. Julia Guicciardi,
right? Yeah.
Who was a student of his, wrote it for... But there was I guess expected her to fucking play it. Do you know the fucking piece besides just the
Moonlight? The whole thing gets fucking crazy.
The second movement.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And it's fucking nuts. He must have been like, oh, you can't play it? Well, let me play it for you. Knuckle crack.
But they couldn't
get in Guicciardi.
The story is that they couldn't be together because of a class difference.
Fuck that. She was known as saying he's ugly.
Yeah.
She was known to say he's ugly.
You can't. When you go back that far back in history, like all this stuff. It's like, who said that? Beethoven, his friend. You know what I mean? Like, if I died and 100 years later they tried to recreate my life from shit you said about me, it's like, how much of it's going to be true?
Okay,
you know?
so no, this is Sex, Drugs, and Opera, so we're talking about some of this stuff.
All right.
I, in preparing for all this, right, would read a lot about the first section of his life and a lot about the second section of his life. And it kind of went in that order until I got to the third section of his life. And it hit me during the second section. Beethoven might have been a virgin.
Oh,
he might have... Wait, I know.
Okay.
I know. He might have been a virgin.
Yeah.
Certainly through this period.
Through this period, probably.
Through this period. This period includes...
this is up to 1802.
This is one of the Breuning girls.
Yeah.
The Josefina Brunswick.
Yeah.
Julia Guicciardi.
Yeah.
Teresa Malfatti.
Yeah.
And then later, who the immortal beloved was this married woman that they think it was about. That
they
letter.
don't know, but they think right exactly.
But I don't think he was dipping. I think he was just writing and like unrequited, like fucking sort of feudal love.
I mean, have you heard his music? That's fine.
There's
sexual
so
frustrated.
much blue balls in his fucking music. It's ridiculous.
That's just the erection, like against the denim. You
That's
know,
exactly
right against
or whatever they fucking had, like fucking leather or fucking I don't know pig shit. Pig
I don't know
shit
what pants
cloth
are made
or
out of
whatever.
back then.
I have no idea what people wore back then, but it wasn't comfortable.
Chafed,
just a
quivering.
Fucking callus-ridden. Man, you have a boner pressing up against that hard-ass fucking denim that they had back then for that fucking long.
Right against the bottom of the piano.
Guicciardi, Malfatti, Brunswick, Brentano, and Breuning were all fucking like, ha no!
Dude, I mean, I don't know if he was just shooting too high, you know? I don't know.
Maybe. I just think he kind of sucked at talking to people. You know, did you read about
I thought you were going to say women. I was like, people in general.
Did you know what? We're going not really chronologically right now, but did you hear about him meeting Goethe later in his life?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? Goethe was like, he's a brilliant guy, but he's a fucking unpolished stone.
Yeah.
Like a weird-ass fucking unpolished stone.
Well, I mean, and now with that, I mean, we're getting into the middle part of his life, which some people call the heroic period.
Wait a minute. Wait. What was I going to fucking say about that? God damn it.
The Goethe
why did
thing?
I stop? No, why did I start talking about him? Oh, yeah, no, we'll get to it later. All of his conversation letters.
Yeah, that comes later.
So
that comes
because
later. Don't do it
we
now.
were talking, the reason I brought it up was because you were saying like, who knows who said what? Later in his life, we fucking got everything because everything was written down because that guy couldn't hear shit.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
No, that's true. We're gonna get there. So now we're in 1802 to like 1812-ish, which is generally his middle period. And a big defining moment of this is, of course, the fact that he starts to recognize that he's going deaf.
Yeah.
You know, he has like basically tinnitus and all this shit. And a doctor told him to go to Heiligenstadt. He's like, go to Heiligenstadt, like, you know, get away from the noise of Vienna and like get your hearing back, get your mind right, you know? And here is when he wrote this, I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Heiligenstadt Testament, I think they call it. And he basically wrote like kind of
to his brothers.
To his brothers, it was like a quasi like suicide letter, you know. It wasn't so much fixated on that, but it was just like, I have a hard time. I don't know how much longer I can survive this. If I die, you know, like this is what I would like to have happen. You know, I'm sorry for everything.
But he wasn't going to do it. He recognized also there was some, like, I don't believe in God.
Yeah.
But some of these people, and like Beethoven believed in God in sort of the loosest humanitarian sense. He believed in nature, humanity, and God as kind of like one thing, which is basically like saying, because nature exists and humanity exists, but God, we don't know, right?
Yeah, right.
So
right.
he basically believed in nature and humanity, which Beethoven, for as much of a dick as he was personally, believed in great ideals.
Yeah.
He believed in the Enlightenment. You know,
yeah.
He believed in the ideals of reason and liberty for people,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Which is why when he wrote Eroica, right?
Yeah.
He was all about the ideals of the French Enlightenment and the French Revolution until Bonaparte, which I mean, come on, this is how it always fucking happens. Ideas are one thing, but people fucking suck most of the time.
Sure.
And he thought fucking Bonaparte was a great man, and then Boney, old boners, like said, "Nah, I think I can be emperor of everything." So then fucking the famous story of Beethoven scratching Bonaparte's name off the title of Eroica, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be named after him. He literally scratched it out. You can actually see the manuscript where there's like a fucking hole in it. Like Beethoven's like, "Nein, das will ich nicht mehr." I'm sorry, he didn't sound like Hitler.
I mean,
but every time an American screams in German, it's straight Hitler.
You have to go
all
that.
the time. It's nine.
Yeah, I mean, that's straight up like Trump supporter stuff. You know, it's like he kind of like had to take a step back after he realized
because Trump at the beginning was talking about draining the swamp. Fuck this corruption, drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Hey, that's something even I can get back, get behind. But then he talks for 5 more minutes, like shit, the guy's a fucking idiot.
Could you imagine if composers these days were still doing this shit, where it's like, you know, John Williams was writing music for like Barack Obama and shit? I mean, like, how much does that happen these days? Not so much.
Yeah, I mean, not too terribly much.
Have you seen the new opera Obama? It's not about Obama at all, but it's like named after him. Like, that would be fucking weird, man. I don't know, man. So he's out there. He's fucking like tripping balls. He gets his shit together. In 1806, he sketches on one of his like things like, "Let your deafness no longer be a secret, even in art," because he decided he's not going to kill himself because he hasn't finished his musical destiny yet.
I distract myself from a thought. Like, I get distracted from a thought easily, but it's me that does it.
I know.
What
I
I meant to fucking say by that whole rant
I knew.
Was he believed
that he was like
that he had a purpose to fulfill.
Yeah.
He knew that he had to do something. And actually, you know, if there is a justification for defining his life as a middle period, it is sort of a middle and late period.
Yeah.
It is sort of this realization that he used to have in, I'm not satisfied with what I've written so far.
Yeah.
I know where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And those periods kind of hinge on when his music started to clearly change. So, yeah, we talk about, like, you and I don't like the imposition of definitions on things that sort of, I think people have recognized this in our podcast. Whenever something exists organically, to place fucking like rigid shit on it is bullshit.
No.
But this is kind of a little less bullshit because Beethoven was as much of a revolutionary in music as anybody could have been. As much as Wagner, as much as anybody else probably.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to jump out of the order too much, but it's like, what he was doing was revolutionary, but he was also not into the new shit that was going on.
That's right.
He liked his shit, and his shit was revolutionary, but he was not into he was a bit conservative, especially towards the end.
I guess so, but it was more because, okay, so he especially rebelled against the idea of pieces being done with what was it like? They started to do like supernatural themes.
Freischutz. Like he didn't like that shit where it's like these like
which makes me wonder whether he would have liked Wagner at all.
I think not.
Like musically, he might have liked Wagner, but he didn't give a shit about all that supernatural like race blah blah blah. Like Wagner
and he
did.
he wasn't an opera guy, you know.
And he wasn't really an opera guy, but Wagner's music is as much symphonic, and
he
was a symphonic guy.
Of course.
What I mean is that he did care about the glory of the human spirit.
Yeah.
Which is great, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like he, as soon as people went away from that, then he started to also be like, well, no, come on, let's not fucking do that. Which, whatever, Beethoven, you do your shit and let Weber do his shit.
Yeah, he just got old and crotchety.
Yeah, he was young and crotchety
which
too.
Which people say like, oh well, what could Beethoven have done if he wasn't deaf? I'm pretty sure his greatest stuff came because of his deafness. Because some of you guys are not musicians, but if you've studied music your whole life, being deaf would do nothing to your ability to compose. You know,
it would do something to my ability to compose.
Yeah, but if you had studied composition as a child, it would basically affect your composing as much as it would affect your writing of language. You know, like maybe you would forget what, like, you know what I mean? But it's like you don't forget what words sound like and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
If every day you're using it in your mind, like if right now if I try to hear a minor third and a major third, I can hear it. And most trained musicians can.
Of course.
And if you're Beethoven getting woken out of bed every night to like fucking play your modes, like it's like you're never gonna forget that shit. So the deafness, I found no record of the deafness ever affecting his composition except for his emotional state, but also it probably also had the effect of this passion and anger, you know, then making his compositions great. What it did affect, though, of course, was his ability to perform, which very quickly went away. He had a couple of bombed performances where people were like,
yeah, where he was just playing loud as fuck.
That was trash. Loud, like not rhythmic, like all the virtuosity was gone. And so basically, his money as a performer, but also it, of course, affected him socially. He became angry and socially withdrawn and started to develop like kind of bad social habits, especially with eating and stuff like that. And it more affected his life in that way than really his composition. But shortly after his time, when he returned to Vienna from Heiligenstadt, and he wrote this Heiligenstadt Testament and everything, then that's when we got like Beethoven's Fifth and Fidelio, which I'll take a moment now to plug that in our secret sponsor podcast, which comes right after this. We'll talk about his opera Fidelio. The whole podcast will be about that, so we're going to kind of skim over that now.
Yeah, let's even skip it and say if you want to find out about it, you can become a secret sponsor, which, by the way, we have a new secret sponsor.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, I want to do it now. That was a great little transition.
Do you have the name?
No, I thought you fucking had the name. This is normally
I got
your
the
shit.
name. I got the name, but it's one name, so I guess
it's like Prince.
We'll do short. It's at the top here. Do you see it at the top? It says sponsor. You see that shit?
Oh, this isn't even a hard one to do.
No, dude, and you got to stretch it over a minute. No, I can turn the music down and we'll talk. All right, yeah, here you go.
Beethoven, Ian Rucker, Ian Rucker. Is it Ian Rucker?
I would say Rucker.
Ian Rucker? Rucker auf Deutsch.
Ian Rucker, but Ian's not a German name. It's Rucker.
I've seen Ian before.
Yeah? Okay.
Ian the fucker Rucker!
Mother Rucker!
Yeah, you mother Rucker, you!
I'm not going to turn this music down. I'm going to do a fade out
Ian.
here.
Thank you. You do shit like make this podcast possible and make the fucking mini operas possible, which, by the way, people, there's a new mini opera out, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
I have listened to it. I personally love it so much. I was a little heartbroken to see how few people liked it on Instagram.
Yeah.
I love Jared. It's one of my favorite compositions of yours. I'm not gonna, and it's not just because you and I were oddly close.
In
this piece.
Yeah.
But it is something that I fucking loved.
Yeah, it was also one of the fastest things we had done. I think the music was written in a day, and then we filmed it. We recorded it in a day. I mean, like we met for 2 hours to record it.
Well, we re-recorded
and then we filmed it. Yeah. We
recorded it quickly the first time, and then recognized, you know what, the music is better than the performance we gave.
Yeah, the harmonies at the beginning particularly had to be very tight. And for those of you as opera singers, and usually you got this vibrato, right? And it's like, so you can hide that shit. But man, when you got to jump to that choral shit, it takes a little bit of extra time and energy.
We were
to get it right.
singering it up.
Oh, we were in that room. We were tuning our harmonies until it popped.
We literally would tune the harmony first and then do a take.
Yeah.
So if you hear, like, I don't know if you saved any of those audio files, but there's always us tuning to make sure we were perfectly together.
Okay, push record.
Until we found the fucking overtones. We're like, yes, that's it. Go.
It was really hard to get that beginning popping, but
you Rucker, you mother Rucker, you.
Ian Rucker, thank you so much for your sponsorship. You helped make it possible. I've sent you your login details to the secret sponsor section, so you now have access to all of our secret sponsor podcasts from the last secret sponsor content for the last 3 years. That, of course, includes the weekly podcasts, but also all the videos and Christmas specials and other behind-the-scenes shit we do. So I'm like wheezing. Do you hear that?
Yeah, it's your disgusting fucking lungs.
No, I think it's from this fucking pepper shit.
Fuck you, dude. It's your disgusting lungs, you and your fucked up ribs, which, again, all of you old-time listeners will recognize.
My ribs have been good because I kind of quit laughing.
What? I've kind of lost all joy in my life. I've lost all reason to laugh, so I don't laugh anymore, and I don't have problems. Dude, listen, guys, if you also want to if you don't have the money, which, by the way, in all this COVID fucking nonsense going on, we understand that you guys don't have, oftentimes,
spare money.
That you don't have disposable money or money. We recognize that you can't just give it to us all the time, which we understand it. We're appreciative to have you as listeners, but if you want to help us out in a different way, go subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't even have to click the bell. We barely give a fuck about clicking the bell. We just kind of want the subscribers there. And if you guys could do it, that would be awesome because it's just a way to help out.
Yeah, if you guys give us the likes, it's not an ego thing for us. It's that is, of course, how these algorithms work. If you like something on Instagram, more people have a chance to see it and stuff like that. And for us, we just more want to build the community bigger. The people that like what we do, they like how we talk about it. The people that feel free to talk about it how they do. We just kind of want to increase that community. It's not a money or an ego thing. It's just about getting it out there. And unfortunately, how these algorithms work is you need to have views and likes. Otherwise, it just gets buried. So if you can't give money, then just at least kind of go give us a good rating or something on Facebook.
And click that notification bell if you want to see everything. I mean, we do upload a lot of shit on YouTube still. It's not our main platform, but we upload all of the mini operas there and everything.
Smash that bell!
Smash that bell, bitches!
So, yes, thanks again for the sponsorship. And for us, that's basically where we're going to leave you.
Yeah, because Beethoven's too... I mean, you can't fit all of that fucking huge jazz genius in one podcast, people.
No, and we want to leave time for discussion, all that. And we always break composers up over multiple podcasts. So recap, we did Beethoven's early life, his relationship with his father, his suspicious virginness.
Jerking off in theaters.
Jerking off in theaters.
Concerts.
But his move to Vienna and then his time in Heiligenstadt where he had to deal with his coming deafness and all this stuff. And so now we are at his return to Vienna. You know, the acceptance of his deafness.
Dude, what would you...
and his Fifth Symphony and all that. The beginning of his heroic period.
If you had to lose a sense, what would you want to lose?
Smell.
Yeah, but then you lose taste. People who lose their sense of smell, basically the taste goes along with it.
I'm fine with that. I mean, like, you know how I eat, you know? I'm not a big, like...
pretzel sticks. I'm not like, I want to taste the truffle.
I taste a slight... No, not really. I mean, this beer's too spicy.
Yeah, that does not... And you're a fucking big fucking wuss when it comes to spicy food.
Yep. Yes, I am. I would give up a smell. What would you give up? Touch?
No, I mean, if my dick didn't feel it, the moment I start writing some Heiligenstadt Testaments whenever my dick starts feeling not feeling it.
Yeah, of course. I'd touch sight. Hearing, music's gone.
No.
Sight, you can't see.
Hearing would be one of the worst things if I could not hear my child anymore or see my children.
Yeah.
If I couldn't do that anymore.
Taste,
you're right. Maybe
doing smell, man. Smell's the easy one.
There's also, but the thing is, we all think that there are just those, like, what do we say, the five senses? There are more.
No, Six Senses movie, Five Senses.
Right, five senses. Isn't that exactly what I fucking said?
Yes.
Good. But there are more than that. There's something like 9 senses. I heard like a biologist explain it to me once. For instance, sense of balance is way a fucking sense.
Yeah. Okay.
I might give up my sense of balance.
Just falling around all the time. But smelling the flowers when you fall on the ground.
It made me sick.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, when you lose your sense of balance, oftentimes
you're
you
sick
get
all
sick.
the time.
So if I get sick all the time, then no, I wouldn't do that. That would be like if the devil came to me and said, "Hey, fucker, you got to give up a sense." I would want to say balance, thinking like, "Oh, so I can ride around in a chair all the time." But then I would pump the brakes because of the whole sickness thing.
I see. Would you rather lose your sense of smell and taste or your ability to control your bladder?
I mean, they make a diet just your bladder. I would do that.
Okay, fair enough. Me too.
I would do that. Fucking imagine you don't have to go to the bathroom anymore. You just have to check it every once in a while.
People would smell it and shit. Anyway, I think it's not a great life. Okay, so that's Beethoven Part 1.
You don't want to jam anymore about smelling like piss and diapers?
I don't know, man.
Every morning you get up, you take it off. Jeannie, my daughter, doesn't seem to have so much problem with it.
You're like Beethoven, dude. You don't give a shit. I mean,
she gets up and takes off her diaper. Big fucking whoop.
Yeah, she doesn't have a social life. She doesn't have a fucking job. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's all about how much you give a fuck. If you don't give that much of a fuck, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine and alone. All right. So, check back with us in 2 weeks for Beethoven Part 2. And if you want to hear the Fidelio podcast, then just visit us on Patreon, gain access to our secret sponsor section, and check that out. We're doing a whole podcast about Fidelio and the history of that. Also, of course, our usual synopsis of the opera. Otherwise, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for Beethoven Part 2.